Before performing the action of pumping gas, an individual must have a vehicle, be capable of accessing a gas station, and have a form of payment available, such as cash, credit, or debit cards. It is also important to note that prior to performing this activity, the individual must have specific mental functions, including higher level cognition, in order to form proper judgment and understand the sequence of events. Sequencing is particularly important in this activity, as gasoline is a dangerous substance that needs to be handled properly, leaving little room for error.
This activity can be performed at any gas station. When arriving at the gas station, the individual must park the car next to the gas pump with the gas tank of the car parallel to the gas pump itself. A sufficient amount of space must be between the car and the gas pump so the individual can have a comfortable amount of space to perform the activity. It is also important to note that the individual must have a sufficient amount of stamina to stand and move while completing the activity. There are many body structures and body functions needed for this activity. Observe these actions while watching the video. They will be described in further detail following the video.
Pumping gas is an instrumental activity of daily living, or IADL, meaning it is necessary for an individual to maintain independence but not essential for day-to-day living. Pumping gas would fit this criteria as it uses more complex actions, performance skills, body functions, and body structures. To start the activity, the individual extends left arm down toward the floor of the vehicle to reach the pull mechanism to open gas tank. The individual must have flexibility to bend at the waist and dexterity in the fingers to pull the tab.
The individual needs to use their right or left hand to open the gas tank to access the gas cap. Joint mobility of one or more fingers is required to grip the gas tank opening.
Unscrewing the gas cap requires range of motion of the wrist to complete the necessary twisting motion. Pinch strength is needed to successfully grip the cap while twisting.
This individual is using a card as payment, although if they were using cash payment, the individual would need to enter the gas station and interact with the cashier, requiring the use of social skills. To use a card, the ability to pinch the thumb and index finger together is needed to hold the card, then align it with the machine slot. Fine motor skills are required to successfully insert the card into the thin payment slot. The individual needs to have the memory capacity to remember their PIN.
Individual must be able to extend arm and read the screen in front of them. To enter the card PIN and answer prompts on the screen, the individual must be able to have adequate visual function to read proper settings on the screen. The individual then needs the strength to depress the required buttons using any chosen finger.
To remove the gas pump, the individual needs finger and wrist joint mobility to safely grip the pump with enough strength as not to drop the pump.
Individual needs to hold pump and turn to the car using fine motor skills to insert pump into car. Hand strength is needed to squeeze the pump handle. After pumping the gas, individual performs reverse of removing the pump and places it back on the pump holder. This requires ability to pivot between car and gas pump balance.
To remove the receipt from the machine, the individual needs to extend the arm again and be able to simultaneously pinch and pull the paper from the machine. Now, the individual has successfully completed pumping gas and can safely return to the vehicle. Pumping gas may seem like an ordinary, everyday activity, but obtaining this ability helps most individuals live a successful and independent life without even realizing it. This simple activity can play a huge role in individuals' daily occupations, such as commuting to work or school. There are various disabilities that can hinder an individual's ability to complete this task. What may seem as mundane to an able-bodied individual is a sign of independence for a disabled individual. Occupational therapy uses interventions that incorporate activity analysis to break down and modify these activities for those who are unable to complete them.